spectacular. I said spectacular. I said spectacular guest for the entire month. Jim Vogel, he is the founder of IMU, social media experts, and I've known Jim for years. I consider him a friend. Whether he considers me a friend or not is irrelevant. Jim, my friend, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Joe. It's a pleasure being here. Really appreciate it.
So I don't know why, after all these years, you have not been a co-host on the show.
No, I have not, actually. I've listened to you.
Wise man. But we got you. We finally got you.
Yeah, looking forward to it. There's a great audience out there, and, we have messages to share, so it's awesome.
We really do. And you and I, we kind of run the same group. I help people sell small businesses with gross sales of about $5 million on down, right? Which is pretty much where you'll help them on social media, correct?
Well, really, we gear to the really small businesses, less than 40 employees. Let's say it could be a dentist, it could be a bakery, anything in between. That's basically who we see. Solopreneurs come in, realtors, chiropractors, those kinds of things. The big guys kind of have their own level, but there's medium small businesses that have 300 people. Usually under 100 people is what we're seeing when we talk small business here.
So tell everybody, what is IMU exactly?
Identity, Message, and Understanding. It basically is a small business social media company that deals with very small businesses, less than 10 employees. Product, services, food, dental, medical, optical. We've been doing it now our 12th year. And basically, I did it out of desperation and perspiration because I left the automobile business after about 37 years. And then, okay, what was I going to do? So we kind of created this thing here, and it's been going on ever since. I kind of just said, yes, I can do that. And I go home and study and say, okay, how do I do that, right? But we've been doing it for quite a while now. Really enjoy it.
So first of all, your website. I really like your website.
Oh, thanks.
A lot. Tell everybody how they can go to your website.
All they got to do is head to imusocialmedia.com or imusocialmediaai.com, and I'm hoping we can talk about a little artificial intelligence today. I know you and I both have a little bit of that in us, but
mine is BS.
Yeah, but I think that small businesses need all the help they can get. You're talking just on Catawba alone, 500 businesses.
Right.
Some we don't even know. They're in donut shops. They're over at Mr. Coffee, wherever they're at. They're in the kitchen. We want them to be paid attention to, and we want to be able to involve them. And that's how we created the Lake Norman Small Business Network, because it was free, totally inclusive, apolitical, didn't cost them anything. You join some of these larger organizations, I won't mention them, but they're $400, $500, $600 a year to join those.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you're starting out, right? Your wife or spouse is working. You're going to do your passion now, right? After all those years in corporate. Why do you have to give somebody else $600 or $700 a year when you could take that money and use it yourself? Right.
So let's back up. Tell us about your time at Ford.
Oh, gosh, I had so much fun at Ford.
Because, there's something to say about somebody that can have a successful career in big business and then translate that into small business. That's not easy to do.
No, it's not. I was really lucky growing up in Detroit, working for Ford Motor Company at age 18. I drove a mail truck at the very beginnings, and then did my thing. I got into internal communications, did newsletters, did all sorts of public relations internally. So I'd go over to the Rouge plant. I was in every single building that Ford Motor Company had in the metropolitan Detroit area. I was there 26 years with them. We decided we'd move to the Raleigh area. Our daughter wanted to go to NC State. I said, okay, let's consider doing that. We did. We were there another 15 years before we moved here, but I was with Hendrick the whole time after that.
Let me explain something to you. When your daughter says she wanted to go to college, she didn't want you to follow her, Jim. You understand that?
No.
But you did.
but the babies are only 3 miles away. I have 2 grandkids. Oh, man, I love them. But the bottom line is that Hendrick took me on, and I was with them. I did training and recruiting and all sorts of good stuff, working for Hendrick University in Charlotte. Flew all over the country for 3 or 4 years, 40 weeks a year, training salespeople and service people. Everybody from detail to the general manager got my training. So it was a lot of fun to put that into play.
What was your specialty in the training? What was that?
The people side of the street, basically. I never look at anything except the people. An organization like Burger King or McDonald's, yeah, they're organizations, but they're not. They're full of people, and it's a different. The people really strategize and make that organization give it its definition. So we're always looking at just the people side of it. I have my son is an engineer and my son-in-law is an engineer, and they were talking big engineer stuff, right?
Right.
I said, the hardest job isn't what you've had. The hardest job is what I've had. I've had to deal with people for my whole career.
Right. That's right. They don't get that either, do they? Not as an engineer, they don't. My co-host for the entire month is Jim Vogel. He is the founder of IMU, Social Media Experts. Jim, buddy, thank you for being here.
Thanks a lot, Joe. It's a great pleasure being here today.
So you described 27 years expertise and training, and it's all personnel issues.
Yeah, basically HR driven. Yeah, lots of turnover in the car business. On the dealership side.
That doesn't surprise me about you. In other words, that is your strength, right? I mean, you know, some people would call that old school, right? You know, you want to get in front of us, shake our hands, look them in the eye. You know, that's what the pandemic did to me. It messed me up. I couldn't look you in the eye and shake your hand anymore.
I know. Well, as a kid, I studied for the Catholic priesthood. So I always wanted to be a priest. And darn those girls, they didn't mess me up. I've been happily married now for 40 years next year.
Well, congratulations.
And, yeah, 2 great kids, 2 great grandkids. Very, very pleased. But yeah, I've always been a people guy.
Yeah, I mean, that just seems like obvious, right?
Corny as that sounds.
No. It's Jim, right? We get it. So you moved to the area.
Moved to Raleigh first. We were in Apex.
So did you start IMU and then start the networking organization, or did you start the networking organization and then IMU? How did that work? Chicken or the egg?
Yeah, actually, it's an old joke, right? Because back in Apex, we didn't have anybody in 2008, 2009, when I was out of a job. I went into the coffee shop on a Tuesday morning, and people were kibitching all over the place, you know, like, geez, I lost my job. And I walked over and said, hey, me too. Let's have a coffee, right? Let's meet next Tuesday, right? So we did it. It's called the Apex Small Business Network. So I did that for 8 years, chaired that. And then when he partnered with the chamber, when I came here, there was no one that did what we did in the Triangle area. So I said, oh, man, I got to do this. And I said, do you think I should? And Susan goes, yeah, just put up a Facebook page and see what happens.
Right.
You know? So we had 200 people that were online. We actually got Cornelius today to interview us and all that good stuff. Now we've got probably collectively 13,000 people online.
Wow.
That are all either a derivative of of small business or are small business owners. So, and we're the voice of small business.
Right.
We do, when I have all the community leaders in my phone. When I call them, they always call me back, which is really cool.
Nice.
You know, they always do. And, you know, I've become good friends with several of the leaders here because, you know what? They need our help and we need their help, especially the lower you go in level. The higher up, you know, when you're with the Trumps and Bidens, it's a different deal.
Right.
When you're here on Catawba Avenue or anywhere across Lake Norman, the 5 communities, you really do need the help and assistance of the leadership.
And, you know, it disappoints me because I know most small business people really don't want to be in politics, right? They would prefer to stay out of it. They want to do their job. They want to do their business. They want to communicate with customers. They don't want to communicate with politicians, right? They expect them to just do their job. But we found out over the years, you have to. You have to let them know what's going on, or they don't know, and the policies they make will affect you.
Oh, there was a huge need for that. You know, let's say the donut shop that opens at 3:30 in the morning to bake the stuff, right? And they go home at 9 o'clock. They do it again. They're not out there tapping on the mayor of Cornelius's door.
Right.
So there had to be a space filled for the voice of small business. And, you know, I was with the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. I was on the executive committee. Spent 5 years serving with the Lake Norman Chamber. And I think it's a great organization. Hi, Bill. I hope you're listening. But bottom line is we did not have anything small business wide that would make us credible. And now I think we do with the Lake Norman Small Business Network.
So you replaced me on that executive board.
I did,
because I was
actually.
there
I
for
forgot
years.
about that.
And I have found that Lake Norman Chamber has done an exceptional job for small business. What you're talking about is really a micro sort of solo entrepreneur that you really are carrying the torch for.
Yep, yep. Well, the chamber has a lot of activities, from
Yes.
hospitals to flower shops, right?
Yep.
Dealerships, to the politics. We don't have that.
Right.
We're apolitical, right? But we want to make sure that everybody that is a small business owner or solopreneur knows we're there for them. We greet them every Wednesday morning at Brick Row, 9 o'clock, right behind the Cornelius Police Department. We have about 40 that show up in the mornings. We used to have 80 until COVID. Until March 11th, 2020.
Yeah.
We went from 100 in a meeting.
I was going to say,
The Zippo Dippo.
I was at a couple of coffee shops. I couldn't get in the door.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Old Town Public House
Yeah.
was full at that time.
Yeah.
We just had so much fun for trying to build that a little bit, getting new people involved. Because my goal is to be the only one on a Wednesday morning sitting there. You go like, well, why? Because I want everybody so busy
Right.
that they don't need us anymore. They don't need me anymore, right? And so I'm hoping that anybody that's out there that has not seen us or heard of us to go to lknsbn.com, Lake Norman Small Business.
You're going to have to say that again because you don't want to weigh in.
lknsbn.com. And very easy or anywhere on Facebook. We're all over the place. In fact, if you AI us with any of the new stuff, man, we're there. There's a ton of information about us there.
Great. And you're going to get a chance to meet more of Jim and his company and also his networking group throughout the entire month. And we look forward to you being involved. Julie has also put your website on the book so people can go and click right on it. She's got it set up there. But you are responsible. You have an obligation as a co-host to go to the Google, find something, and bring it here that we can talk about.
That's right.
Have you done such a thing?
I didn't go to Google. Well, who uses Google anymore? Truly,
I just got used to Google, Jim.
Artificial intelligence today is like the internet was in the 80s and 90s.
Wow.
It's an amazing experience because I'm a research guy. Anything I want, anywhere I want, is on these sites. So this is the article we're talking about is AI stuff. No, not me stuff.
Okay.
This is just, hey.
AI, not the Google.
No, this is, I use Google to find a map, right? Really, basically, this AI is, some of the AI, I use Perplexity, but it's basically Google on steroids. And it drills down. Let's say you want information, it gives you secondary things to talk to. And, again, you have to watch the information, making sure it's good.
Right.
But, bottom line is, I don't go to Google any longer.
Okay. Well, then, what'd you bring us? What'd you bring us to
Well, I'll
educate
tell you
us on?
the 6 business trends to prepare in 2024. As you know, we have to stay ahead of the curve as small business. And there's business trends that the experts have suggested we utilize to grow in 2024. And, of course, one big thing is sources of capital, right? High interest rates. Very challenging to go to the bank and get any kind of funding. So we're looking at different kind of funding now for our small businesses. We're looking at P2P, which is the peer-to-peer stuff, where there's actual websites that you can go and fill out an application. Peers will look at your business and then give you monies based on what your needs are if you make the qualification. And so peer-to-peer lending is great. Crowdfunding too, from a monetary perspective, where you're always, looking at donations or you're looking at reward funding, those kinds of things. Those two things are now going to be more and more popular as interest rates continue to be challenging. Mortgage rates, cars, eggs, gas, you name it, it's gone higher and higher. That we're looking for other sources of business for capital.
This is a big challenge for me. Obviously, SBA right now is over 11.5% interest rate. It's really hard to buy a business at 11.5% because the business cash flow has to qualify for that, which really puts a lot of pressure on it. So this is a big issue for us. So alternative sources is just a necessity.
Absolutely, especially now with social media,
right?
Because social media basically for our small businesses is free, right? You don't have to buy a single ad,
right?
And be consistent on Twitter and Facebook and on X now, X, or any of these. You don't have to. but you have to have the time. So usually the people that come see me don't have the time to do it, don't want to do it, don't like doing it. The competition's killing them doing it.
Right.
And so they say, hey, Jim, can you help me? I give them 30 minutes. I say, hey, this is exactly what you need to do. No charge, free. And well, 1 out of 6, 1 out of 7, hey, Jim, can you do it for me?
Right.
I have zero marketing budget, Joe. Zero. I don't need a market. Most everybody knows who I am, which is good and bad.
Right.
But yeah, I have zero marketing budget.
Okay, capital. What's the next one?
Well, it got to be automated, right? We're looking at AI becoming more and more and more important, as it says here. The boom of the internet from the 80s and 90s can be compared to what's happening since November of last year with artificial intelligence, with the GPAT, all this other good stuff. Again, I try to be on the cheap, right? I use Perplexity, I use Writer, RYTR, and those are the two principles that I go to. One costs me, one is free.
Interesting. That's changed my life because I'm a horrible writer. And matter of fact, I told my wife, who used to correct everything, that matter of fact, some of our biggest fights used to be she wanted to correct all the grammar before she'd look at the content. Now I just put it into what I call the Terminator, and I told her she's obsolete. I just don't need her anymore. Of course, Jim, I might need your help on fixing that.
Well, you used to be able to tell when stuff was a scam, right? When the Princess of Nigeria sends you a check for $10 million.
That's right.
But now they're actually spelling things right.
That's right.
And they're punctuating and grammar's correct because of artificial intelligence.
And some of them are even in my wording, right, coming back at me.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't take it long to catch on what you want and what you're about if you do continuing searches.
That's interesting. Let's take a break and we'll